Welcome to the Direct with Hotels Hotelier Extranet. In this video tutorial, we will discuss how to apply dynamic pricing to your best available rates in the Internet booking engine. To do this, go to the Channel Management tab and click Rate Plans from the left navigation. You will be shown a list of rate plans configured for your hotel. Select the rate plan that you'd want to apply dynamic pricing for. This could be your best rates, or internet daily rates, or best available rate, or any other rate plan that you'd wish to apply dynamic pricing to. So for this instance, we will select internet daily rates. Click on the desired rate plan to open its edit panel. Click the Booking Conditions tab and select Dynamic Pricing radio button from the list of options. This will open a pop-up window displaying a set of fields that you'll be required to configure to set dynamic pricing rules for the rate plan selected. The first step is to identify what promo tag you're going to use for the dynamic pricing rule. There are 3 promo tags to choose from: Advance Purchase, Last Minute Deal, and Limited Offer. Selecting Advance Purchase will allow you to define the minimum lead time for guests to make their reservation before the intended check-in date to avail of Advance Purchase or Early Booking Discount. The second option is Last Minute Deal, wherein when you select this option, it will allow you to define the maximum lead time for guests to make their reservation before the intended check-in date to avail of Last Minute Deal discount. The last option is Limited Offer, which will allow you to define a customized rule that guests has to meet to avail of discounted rates. Let's start with Advance Purchase. Input the applicable discount, say 20%, for this promo tag in Step 2, and proceed to configure the rules in Step 3. As mentioned earlier, setting up Advance Purchase will require you to define the minimum lead time for guests to avail of Early Booking Discount. You'll notice that the lead time checkbox is pre-selected and the fields for defining unit and the minimum lead time value are enabled. For this rule, we'll select the unit days and set minimum value to 30. Notice that as you configure this rule, a brief description will display stating that the 20% will be applied to reservations if guests book at least 30 days before the check-in date. Click the link Add Another Dynamic Pricing Level to display a new set of fields where you can configure dynamic pricing rules for the rate plan. This time, select Last Minute Deal in Step 1, input the applicable discount, say 20% again, for this promo tag in Step 2. Now you can proceed to configure the rules in Step 3. Once again, the lead time checkbox is pre-selected, but this time, the fields for defining unit and maximum lead time value are enabled. For this rule, we'll select the unit to hours and set maximum value to 48. In the brief description, it will state that 20% discount will apply to reservations if guests book within 48 hours before the intended check-in date. Now let's configure Limited Offer. Click the link Add Another Dynamic Pricing Level to display a new set of fields where you can configure dynamic pricing rules for the rate plan. Select Limited Offer in Step 1 and input the applicable discount in Step 2, say 25%. Unlike with Advance Purchase and Last Minute Deal, selecting Limited Offer will not require you to identify lead time for the rule. It is completely up to you to define what parameters you'd want to set up based on lead time, or the amount of time between the guest's reservation date and check-in date, the length of stay or the number of nights that a guest can book, and booking period, the inclusive dates when guests can make the reservation. Let's try that out with an example. Say you'd want to apply 25% discount for long-stay guests if they book 45 to 60 days in advance and stay for 7 to 30 nights. Select the checkbox for lead time, set unit to days, input minimum lead time value 45, and set maximum lead time to 60. Select the checkbox for length of stay, set minimum value to 7, and set maximum nights to 30. Once this rule is saved, the 25% discount will be granted to guests who book 45 to 60 days in advance with minimum 7 nights to a maximum of 30 nights. Let's configure another rule. Say for the entire week, regardless of guests' check-in date, you want to offer 15% off the rates. Click the Add Another Dynamic Pricing level to display a new set of fields where you can configure a new set of rules. Select Limited Offer in Step 1, apply 15% discount in Step 2, and proceed to define the parameters in Step 3. Select the checkbox Booking Period and define the end date until the end of the week. So since we are on the first week of April, we'll set the end date to the 7th of April 2013. Once this rule is saved, the 15% discount will be granted to guests who reserve starting today all the way until the end of the week. Regardless of guests' check-in date, as long as they reserve until the end of the week, they will be granted 15% off the rates. So you'll notice that among the dynamic pricing rules we've set up, different discounts apply. So if in case a guest's reservation meets the requirements of at least 2 dynamic pricing rules, then the dynamic pricing rule with a higher discount will be applied. So go ahead and save these rules to start offering these promotions in the Internet booking engine. Now, we're ready to review if the rules as defined earlier will apply to guests' reservation. Take note of the rates configured in the Hotelier Extranet for this particular rate plan. We'll use these values to compare if discounts are met based on the reservation scenarios we'll simulate. Let's try the advanced purchase first. Go to Rooms and Rates tab and click the View Internet Booking Engine button. The rule we applied for advanced purchase is 20% if guest books at least 30 days before check-in date. So we'll select a check-in date that is more than 30 days from the current date. So I'm going to select the 6th of May. And then I'll proceed to Step 2 by clicking View Rooms and Prices. So in Step 2, you'll see the rate plan you've applied dynamic pricing to has been highlighted. For this instance, it's Internet Daily Rates. And you'll see that it says there, Early Booking Promo for the Internet Daily Rates. And it also says here, get a 20% discount if you reserve now. You'll notice that the original rate of the room types have been slashed off, and the discounted rates are highlighted in big bold font. Now let's try last-minute deals. The rule we've defined is that guests will avail 20% off rates if their check-in date falls within the next 48 hours. So we'll go ahead and select a check-in date for tomorrow. And I'm going to proceed to Step 2 to check if the discount will be applied. So now you'll see that the Internet Daily Rate has been highlighted as last-minute deal. And it also says here that the guest will get a 20% discount if they reserve now. Again, notice that the original rate has been slashed off and that 20% discount has been applied to the rates. So instead of $115 for the Apollo Suite, it's now down to $92 for one night. Now let's try meeting the rules set for the 2 limited offers configured for the rate plan. The first rule is that 25% discount will be applied to guests' reservation if they book 45 to 60 days in advance for 7 to 30 nights. So let's select a check-in date that is at least 45 days from today. Select check-out date that is at least 7 days after the selected check-in date. And proceed to Step 2. You'll see that the rate plan is highlighted as a limited offer. You'll also notice that the original rate is slashed off by about 25%. Now let's try the last dynamic pricing rule applied to the rate plan. That is, guests will get 15% off rates as long as they book starting today until the end of the week. So we're going to change the dates again. And since I have until the end of the week to reserve, so I'm going to select any check-in dates, say the 15th of April, and proceed to step 2. Now you'll see that the internet daily rate has been highlighted once again as limited offer, but this time you'll see the 15% discount applied to the rate plan. So the original rate of $115 for the Apollo Suite has been slashed off by about 15%, giving you the new rate of $97.75 for one night. So now let's go back to the list of dynamic pricing rules defined for the rate plan. If you want to stop offering a promotion configured through dynamic pricing, just delete the rule from the table and the promo will no longer be offered in the internet booking engine. Anyway, you can always reconfigure dynamic pricing rules in the Hotelier Extranet, and you may define up to 5 dynamic pricing rules per rate plan. So let's try that out. We're going to get rid of the limited offer that applies 15% discount if they book until the end of this week. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that, save the changes, and go back to the preview to the internet booking engine. We're going to select the same check-in date that we selected earlier, which is the 15th of April for one night. And you'll notice that the internet daily rates is no longer highlighted as a limited offer and no discount will be applied to guests anymore. So always remember to click the View Internet Booking Engine from the Rooms and Rates tab to check out how each dynamic pricing rule will apply to guests' reservation. Should you need to refresh your knowledge on how to apply dynamic pricing to existing rate plans, please feel free to view this video anytime. You may also refer to context-sensitive help windows by clicking on the question mark icon located in the upper right corner of every section or pop-up window that requires your action. You may also refer to the Account Management Help section, where you'll see a consolidated help content of the Hotelier Extranet. Should you need further assistance, you may always go back to the Dashboard Quick Links section and click Contact Direct with Hotels. This will open a pop-up window where you can state your concern. Clicking the Send button will send an email to the Direct with Hotels support team who will get in touch with you immediately.